Hey yo.
So we got some teams rolling here. Let's get cooking. Let's pull this up.
I'll send this link into the Discord.
Perfect. All right, 16 PPR Guillotine League with no trades allowed. You're one of the last 10 teams this week. Puka, Devontae, Amon St. Brown, Etienne, and Saquon hit the wire. You have the second highest FAB remaining. Who should you target? I mean, in theory, you probably want Saquon because that's going to help boost your running back room and the safety of it a bit more, considering Kenneth Walker isn't really someone you can rely on. And you lost Bucky Irving for another week. So that's probably who I would be going after, him and Etienne. Like, I love Puka, but the reality of the matter is that, like, whoever picks him up has a very real chance that, like, he doesn't even make, like, he could just lose that person that week. Devontae is going to get a massive boost, so I'm not against going after him, considering the usage boost they should have. I can't really give you a accurate recommendation of how much to utilize because I don't know the other league standings, but if you have plenty of waiver wire bidding, I imagine you can probably navigate this pretty easily to a degree. But yeah, really strong team here. But that is how I would navigate it because your biggest concern is your running back room. But Devontae Adams and Amon St. Brown are also great options. Puka's great. I just don't think he's going to be relevant for the next 2 weeks. All righty.
Nice.
Ajar, 12-man full PPR. You're 3-3 to be completely honest. Your team is going to send you to a psych ward. You haven't scored over 100 the past 2 weeks. I'll probably lose the next 2 weeks since Puka will be out. Your running backs suck. Mike Vrabel is your number one op. Fair enough. And the Bears defense just happens to shut down the run game when Bill finally gets going. I might just drop Trevion because he's giving you gray hairs and only 19 years of age. Everyone on your team is on the chopping block at this point. Well, welcome to fantasy, my friend. Unfortunately, you listen to my advice on both RJ Harvey and Bashal Tootin, and they're just simply not getting there just yet. Aside from that, though, like I think your team is sick and you're gonna have better days ahead. It's just unfortunately variance has given you like any of those true skyrocket weeks just yet. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think this team's going to get better with time. Unfortunately, Pearsall's not going to add you a lot of value. Burden's definitely a future kind of upside swing. Isaiah Bond's volume encapsulator. Keon Coleman, I just don't think he's worth rostering, to be honest. And then Michael Carter's fine. So, yeah, I don't know. The team's going to get better with time, I guess, is kind of my main gist here. Like, you'll be fine. Just need a little bit more patience. Corey Krosky-Merritt's going to be in a game environment that has probably one of the highest team totals that I've ever seen at 55.5. So there's a very real chance that him and Jaden Daniels score you at least 20 fantasy points each this weekend.
Who are they playing again?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a freaking shootout.
Exactly. Who should you trade for Devonta? This is your team. I just don't think you're going to be able to get Devonta like you think you can. Yeah, like this is really just kind of a roster you kind of gotta write out. You know what I mean? Like I know that's probably not the answer you wanted to hear, but like this is a team that's going to continuously get better. You could try to like package like Jaylen Warren with someone, but
or like a Tat maybe.
Yeah, but he gets to go against the Bengals on Thursday, so you probably want access to that. I don't know. I just be patient. You're 3-3. This is kind of where you want to be, as dumb as that might sound, because it's harder to get through the good rookies sooner, if that makes sense. Thanks, boss. No head-to-head or record. Just lowest team gets chopped every week. Makes sense, yeah. Ultimately, like, I'd just be playing the survival game then, Noah, in the sense of, like, just trying to boost the areas that your team actually needs production. Like, Kenneth Walker against the Texans, probably not ideal. Rico Dowdle, I'm confident he'll be giving you enough production. Scary Terry, we'll see. Like, that is genuinely a question mark, but I think you can honestly throw Harold Finn in. You can't actually do that because that's not a secondary flex. That's a secondary receiver. Maybe it's a flex. But yeah, if that was a flex, I would consider throwing Fannin in there. I don't mind Devontae as well, just because like he might go overlooked. Should you just drop Keon Coleman? Yeah, I don't think you really need Keon Coleman. He's not going to provide you value. And we have other upside swings we can go after. If you want one that's going to be a fun one for me this week, I'm going to be making a stand on little Jordan Humphrey. Not the sexiest play on paper. Like Tez Johnson is also another really good option. But like, I'll give you kind of the skinny of what I'm looking at because I decided to kind of build out a little bit earlier than I normally do, and I feel a lot more confident on this slate than I've ever been. So I'm either going to have great rewards, or my portfolio is going to look terrible. So it's going to be one or the other. Gotta love it. But the main gist is this: Lil Jordan Humphrey led the team in first read rate this past weekend. It was something that I remembered happening in preseason as well. He was like really, really, really focused in on little Jordan Humphrey in preseason. That usage just seemed to translate to the regular season. Cortland Sutton will likely be the one shadowing Wan'Dale Robinson, is my imagination of how they're going to go about that. In which case, little Jordan Humphrey is going to be getting a lot of looks against Riley Moss, who's been like the number one targeted corner in fantasy, aside from fellow high school alumni, Kyer Elam. Josh Palmer hurt, right? Could help Keon. It definitely could. But the problem is like with Drake May and Josh Allen is like they are so talented and are so good at getting through their reads that they don't really need / want a primary read that they're stuck on. So you're just kind of sitting there with a constant carousel trying to identify who's going to be the one that pops.
So you think even in like a 12-man redraft, you're not rostering Keon?
I just don't see it. Like he's clearly just kind of fallen out of favor with the team. That's why I liked Palmer so much last night, because I was like, oh, the usage is kind of going there and he can actually separate. Like, I know separation has gotten a lot of negative connotation because the whole entire like Emeka Egbuka argument, because just to fill those in that aren't super familiar, basically Emeka Egbuka had like a terrible separation score through the first 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. And so a lot of people try to make it their personality being like, Emeka Egbuka has a bad separation score, you need to sell him, or be like, oh, look at this idiot talking about separation score. It is a real thing. Like Emeka is just that good is kind of the difference. Keon Coleman is not that. His separation is terrible. You want the players who can separate on their own. Keon's good for best ball. I'll give you that. But that's because you don't have to predict when. Unfortunately, Ricky has also been on the wrong side of variance, which kind of sucks. But overall, I'm optimistic about this roster. Anyways, moving forward. Sonny, giving your team Mike Evans and Chase Brown for Breece Hall. You're going to try Marvin Harrison over Evans first, but would you do either or not? You're probably not, like, people are probably going to overvalue Mike Evans, even though he probably won't be relevant in the near future. But I would be trying to make a move for Breece because I think there's ultimately just going to be better days ahead. I'm not really sold Chase Brown's going to have better days ahead at this point. I'm kind of questioning if the Packers are actually as good as they kind of look on paper, because I've just watched multiple games now where it's like, oh, this team's going to slaughter them.
Yeah.
And they don't. So interesting kind of conundrum there. But yeah, Mike Evans and Chase Brown for Breece Hall. I'm not opposed just because like Chase Brown is basically the equivalent to Tony Pollard at this point. Not a sexy asset to have. And Mike Evans, as much as I like him, just does not seem ideal. And it's going to allow you to have a more efficient run game too. So I think that's going to help you in the long run. But yeah, I like it, Sonny. I like it. Alrighty. Marco the Legend, 12-man PPR. Bo Nix, Achane, Vidal, Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., Harold Fannin, Puka Nacua. I mean, you have a God squad. Yeah, I mean, the team is sick. I'm just trying to think of like how you could technically make adjustments. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any adjustments to make. You'll have Marion Hampton coming back. You have Vidal filling in for him in that bit of time. You have Emeka Egbuka likely to come back. Only thing you could technically do is like try to pair Emeka Egbuka with something else to try to upgrade your RB2. But like even that, I'm not really sold you need to do in general. Humphrey is on your waivers, but would Whittington also be a good pickup since Puka will probably be out the next 2 weeks? Yeah, I mean, the thing is like you're only getting Whittington for 1 week, though, in theory, and you're going to also have Tutu Atwell. I do think that Whittington is the one-to-one replacement for Puka from a role standpoint, but it doesn't mean he's going to get the usage. We've also seen kind of a small trend of like when these teams do travel abroad, they're not the same teams. Like they're just not able to get there because like that level of travel is going to have an impact on just a lot of different factors in your environment. So Humphrey's a little bit more interesting to me just because I think the usage could really be there this week in a game script that they should be trailing from. But they were also supposed to be trailing in a lot of their other game scripts. And well, Anakin Skywalker has been slaying the younglings apparently, or the Jedi, whatever way you look at it. But with that said, I like this roster. It's very well built. It should get better with time. But yeah, I like it.
The Rams have a bye week after next, right? That's why it's
exactly. Yeah. All right. Virage, 16-man PPR, about to trade Judkins for Rasheed. Click, sell. I'm all the way in on Rasheed, but let's look at the rest of your roster. DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's looked awesome. Harvey should get better with time. One of these days we'll get Bucky back. And then Ayuk, I would love to see an actual update on him, but I digress. Aside from that, though, you had a great night with Drake London, so that's fun. AJ Barner, not ideal for the tight end, so I'd be looking elsewhere if I can. But then again, you are in a 16-man PPR, so that's a bit deeper. Yeah, I mean, this is a sick team for a 16-man PPR. You're about to get Rashee Rice added to your fold. Like, this is a very, very strong team. I ideally wouldn't like to do it ahead of this weekend just because, like, I do think Quinshon Judkins is about to put up 30. But is what it is.
Who's that guy after DeAndre Swift?
Eddie Pinheiro.
A kicker.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do the Judkins trade in a week if you need to win this week or something. I feel like as high as we are on Rasheed, like there's a chance his first week doesn't look amazing since he's not been able to practice with the team until Monday. So like, I think the odds are Judkins probably has a better week than him if you held off. But I mean, it's better long term anyway, so you might as well just get it done, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a pretty sick team for a 16-man league, though.
Mhm.
I concur.
I don't even know how you had Drake London, Bucky, and Saquon.
Yeah, it's kind of my thought too. I'm like, you got a lot of very interesting pieces late. Well, getting Puka side, okay.
And McBride, dude. Damn, that's crazy.
All right, so you got Daniel Jones, McCaffrey, Rashad White, Drake London, Brian Thomas, Trey McBride, J.K. Dobbins. Okay. And
What
then
is
you
this
got
trade?
a
You're
ridiculous-
sending McCaffrey, J.K. Dobbins, and Drake London and getting Jacobs, Puka, and Pearsall?
I
I mean, that feels like a pretty good move. If you're good and if you're fine having no Puka for 2 weeks and Ricky probably out another week or two, like I think you're set up for the future if you can survive that and your record's good enough. But
I'd rather just keep McCaffrey in London. Like I see the
Yeah.
logic for the trade. In reality, you can argue both ways. Like there's definitely ways it works for both sides. It's just like I don't know. It's a hard trade to grade because you're just trading away some really great assets when you honestly don't need to. Unless, you're the one who's getting Puka. So he's the one getting Puka. So you already made this deal, it looks like. So this is a squad that has McCaffrey. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you'd want to be on the McCaffrey side of this deal. But it's also more of like a win now with this kind of size of deal because it's like Puka is clearly like the power law player this year. McCaffrey's close. Josh Jacobs should get better. Then London, it's kind of
I mean, like selling somewhat high on Dobbins, I feel like it seems like a fair idea. But I think like the thought of having both of those two guys is a pretty fun one though with him and Harvey because you're one like 2-week injury from either one of them from having like a guy you can easily slot in as a fringe RB1 kind of candidate. So
yeah. All right, on to the next one. Abu, the last two picks are trades you made. You're the one who received Dobbins. Will receive Chase Brown. Who should you target wide receiver and what packages can you create for them? Okay. Fields, Pickens, Olave, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Harold Fannin, Bijan Robinson. That's fun. Waddle, Bowers, Diggs, McLaurin. Okay.
where's the? I don't see the Chase Brown trade.
Yeah, I don't see the Chase Brown one either. I see Waddle.
Dobbins and Olave. I mean, getting the Dobbins and Olave side of that trade feels
Very good.
elite.
Yeah.
Let me see if I missed anything in the DMs of this guy real quick.
Very good.
I'm not seeing anything.
I think
Like you-
Jawan Johnson is trending towards being like kind of droppable, so that trade feels pretty good.
Yeah, DeJuan Johnson, unfortunately, was a fun asset at the beginning that has just completely fallen off. Aside from that, though, like you could take like McLaurin and Diggs if you want. Like you have a lot of receivers that you can realistically like package together in 2-for-1s to try to like go higher. Yeah, and like
I would be starting Waddle over Olave regardless, but I think a 2-for-1 there could help you a lot. I don't know the size of this league. It seems like it's probably not the deepest league in the world, maybe.
Yeah.
But if there are teams that are struggling with injuries and stuff, like a 2-for-1, I think it'd be great. I assume your team is probably in a good spot. Your record's probably good considering you have Bijan and Jonathan Taylor and Pickens, but
I think you could try to do like a 2-for-1 for Pickens. I mean, not Pickens, like Puka, because like you have the capital that's required to do something like that.
Yeah.
And then you get 3 players who are clearly just power laws.
you might want to go get a better quarterback. I mean, Fields' fantasy upside is there, but like he might not have a job.
Yeah, his consistency is not there. I don't know. Sick team, man. That's all that can really be said about this. All right, steroids. 5-1 after this week. 12-man PPR league. A couple of injuries now hitting the squad. Should I sell high on some players or keep and roll with the squad? Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels' fumble made my team fall from 3-3 down to 2-4. So gotta love that.
You lost a week from that?
Yep. I was at
horrible.
So the final score of my matchup was 133.04 to 133.7.
Wow.
So gotta love it. But props to you, steroids. A couple of injuries now hitting the squad. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of just set it and forget
Just-
if you really want.
I mean, I guess you have Garrett and Emeka, but Garrett seems to only be a couple weeks, and like you're 5-1, so you can afford to lose one of those. I would just start
Yeah.
Pickens in the Garrett or Emeka slot, and then you can survive with a Calvin Ridley or someone you pick up off of waivers for a couple weeks, and you'll be fine. Emeka's injury is the concerning one. I think he's probably trending towards returning after the bye in like week 10. It seems like that's what some people are putting the timeline at, but Garrett should only be out a couple weeks, and then you're just starting Nico, Pickens, and Garrett as your receivers and flex, and that feels fine.
Yeah.
Tough one if this guy's had Pickens chilling on his bench the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think you are
Whereas he
fine.
probably started him over Nico this week, hopefully.
Yeah.
I just kind of rock with what you got, man. Like, this team is sick. Congratulations. It should continue. Like, you're going to run into plenty of people who are having bad bye weeks, if that makes sense, and your team is just going to have too many studs for them to account for.
Yeah.
So I like it. All right. Marco 2, 12-man PPR. And is there anybody you should drop? So first off, let's look at the squad. That looks great. Second off, let's look at the backups. I think Juwan Jennings is worth dropping. At this point, he was part of why I lost that matchup was because I thought it was a genius idea to start Juwan Jennings. Nope, I was completely wrong. So
that injury report that he gave himself, I don't even know if it's physically possible to have. One, how is he walking? Two,
That's where
can
I'm
you even
at.
have high ankle and low ankle sprains on the same 2 feet at the same time? Is that
I
even
saw
like a possible injury?
and play 80% of snaps. I saw a doctor that I really trust basically be like, let's also keep in mind that like you have the whole contract thing that's going on with him too. So he's probably just trying to save face. So it's like, I don't know. It's just a no for me. He's clearly in the doghouse is kind of how I'm looking at it as well. Just
I think that's why he's like forcing it and playing for sure.
yeah. It's I don't know, just not ideal. He really pissed me off this weekend. 1.7 fantasy points. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyways, aside from that though, Hassan Haskins, I love how this is the thing I love about fantasy football. You can do everything right and just be drastically wrong on a take. You have the connection with Haskins in Harbot, Michigan. You have the Schefter report right before this game starts saying he's going to be the lead in primary back. And no, 3 carries, 3 yards, and then Vidal goes nuclear. Welcome to fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a report like early on Sunday or something that he was going to be the starter, and that's it.
That's what I'm saying. So it is what it is. Haskins is droppable in my opinion, though. He's not going to really have any fun matchups in the near future that you're going to be like, oh, I can start him. So we're chasing for upside. If you want to drop Jennings too, I'm cool with that. It's just like, I don't know, making excuses and then saying like you have 4 or 5 broken ribs. Probably not going to get the ball thrown to you too much. Darnell Mooney, it's great when Darnell Mooney's out because you just know Drake London's going to go for 100 yards. Woody should have better days ahead. I like the Tajay Spears pickup. Yeah, I mean, this is a really strong squad. You have a lot of fun upside swings. Really trying to push people to go after Luther Burden right now because of the whole entire DJ Moore having to stay overnight in Washington.
I also think DJ Moore is probably just a trade candidate long term.
Yeah.
Like I have Luther Burden in a dynasty league, and I'm pretty bullish on his role in the future.
I concur. But yeah, that's how we navigate that one. So we move to the next one. Is Rico worth trading for? I'm not against it in the sense, but like you're not going to be able to buy him for the price you want. And the majority of people who will be buying him in theory are going to be asking you far too low, like in return.
I think it has high potential to turn into a kind of gross situation where like
it'll be
he's
60.
probably earned the starting slot, but then Chuba is also going to demand a workload, and you're going to end up with what like the Seahawks have, and you're not really going to feel good about starting either one of those guys. And I mean, the best thing going forward is like Chuba goes on the IR. I would probably just keep Dowdle because nobody, like Wells said, is going to trade for the value that he commands.
I concur. All right, on to the next one. Dierte, 5-1, start sit advice. Mainly 10-man league, full PPR. Had to drop Woody to pick up Shepard since QJ didn't play. Wanting to drop Shepard and Michael Carter for Wandale and Mooney off of the waiver, but you're 10th on the waiver order. Thoughts, league mates don't like to trade, unfortunately, but what are some good options if they get snagged? I'm a lot higher than the market on Tez Johnson. Like, I generally think he is very live to be the wide receiver one there. He had a very fun college profile. It's just like he's extremely small. And ultimately, he had a terrible combine, so he got boggled down because of that. So I like him as a dart throw option. And a reference the rest of your roster, I think it is fine.
What do you think about Cameron Johnson?
So here's the fun thing about him. I think he's a personal project potentially for Josh Grizzard because he went to Barton College, which happens to be 30 minutes away from where Josh Grizzard grew up. So I think he went and visited a local game and saw him there for that. And he was the direct replacement to Emeka Egbuka. I'm just not really like, I don't know.
Like
if
Tez will have a role, but I think he doesn't have the profile of the kind of wide receiver that succeeds there, which is like pretty high volume, like over the middle routes and things like that. And it seems like there's room for someone to take on that role for the next 3 weeks. And I probably think that Cameron Johnson has a higher chance of doing that, but Tez Johnson has the higher value, like long-term post Emeka coming back and everything. So it's kind of just how you want to approach that.
I'll say it's all about how you want to go about it. Did you hear Tez Johnson say he's 145 right now? Yeah, that's definitely not ideal for him. You definitely want to be a bit bigger, but that was kind of the thing that concerned me about both of them is that like when you look at their weights, they're both just extremely small. And then you have Shepard, who's like 195, which is good, but clearly on the back end of his career. Aside from that, though, you can make an argument for Josh Downs' emergence. I'm just not fully sold that is truly sticky, but like the talent is definitely there. And then we talked about Alec Imanor before, and we've talked about Wandale Robinson and Jaleel McLaughlin, or not McLaughlin. Well, Jordan Humphrey. Bunch of names stuck in the head.
Do you guys see that Tez thought the MVP chance?
Yeah.
So
That's the
funny.
kind of confidence I want for him, though. You know what I mean? He's just like, oh, these are for me on my first play.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. All right. Can you please review this? You traded Henderson and Odunze for Brees. I would not have done that. Caleb Williams, JSN, Sutton, Vidal, Mason, Ferguson.
That's tough.
So, yeah.
So you'll have Caleb, JSN, Sutton, Brees, Mason / Vidal, Ferguson, and then I guess you have Bucky and CeeDee Lamb there. So like,
yeah,
the 2-for-1 isn't the most important thing in the world, but I like Rome rest of season probably more than I like Brees straight up.
You could have flipped for like Derrick Henry at minimum, for example.
I think you have like, it seems like you have receivers that you trust more, especially when CD came back. So it could be more of a dispensable asset. And I guess you'll have like Bucky and Brees as your running backs and then 3 good receivers, but probably could have held out for a better trade potentially.
Yeah, I'll just be transparent that you should have done that trade, Mike. But is what it is. Sometimes you make bad deals and they end up working out well. Look at Jerry Jones. Aside from that, though, yeah, it's just going to take time. I'm excited to see the Dallas pieces and how they progress there. I see that you were basically like you needed a secondary running back is what you're looking for consistency.
Yeah.
But I think Trevion's role is going to continue to expand as the season progresses. So
and Vidal, like you have a guy you could start for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So sorry we're on the opposite side of you from that one, Mike. All right, principled conservative, half PPR, 14-man, just wondering who you would let flex this week and how to move forward with Wilson injured. And just overall, any needs you think I have and my strengths and weaknesses. I have a waiver claim for Vidal, FYI. Right on. So that's positive for one.
This guy's fantasy football team name is Principled Conservative. That's hilarious.
He also said in DMs, he also said he wasn't from the U.S., which I thought was funny with that.
You had to clarify.
Yeah.
I would probably be flexing Wandale. I mean, obviously he has the Surtain matchup, but I think Wandale is usually lined up in the flex, and Surtain's not going to be playing like nickel corner. So I think he's a guy that I would trust this week for sure. Definitely over Ellick. And then I would probably be putting, I don't know, Kendrick Bourne in the flex over Mason Taylor, I think.
I think I'd keep Mason Taylor for just the pure volume he'll likely have. Because if Garrett Wilson misses, then like he's the only option at that point.
Yeah, it's fair. But if you have a quarterback that throws for 45 passing yards, it's just tough to.
No, I hear you. I would put Harvey in over Carter because it's essentially the same bet. You're just taking a more talented offense. But I'm
a
with
worse run
on
D.
Wandale over Alec. Like the usage will condense for Alec, but like he's not going to be able to do anything against Christian Gonzalez. I'm very confident of that. So go take a 100-yard bet now on Alec Imanor. Aside from that, yeah, I mean, this is a better team. I think, honestly, you could probably make a case for Kendrick Bourne actually being the receiver to start here, considering just how great he's been. And I don't really see anything changing there.
Yeah.
Should you
as
pick
long
up
as Ricky's out?
Your slide 12? Let's see who we're picking him up.
Woody?
Yeah, I would 100% have Woody over Michael Carter and Sam Darnold. Like, Woody should be on your roster. All right. But yeah, I mean, this is a good team. Those are the adjustments that I would make and the ones that Grant and Jackson would make as well. So yeah. All right. We move forward. Mean 7302. Full PPR. You're 4-2. Running back room is in shambles. Third column is waivers. All right. Bo Nix, Chase Brown, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Sedarian, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tucker Kraft, and Harold Fannin. I mean, for what it's worth, I really like how this team is set up for the most part. Unfortunately, Chase Brown has not been particularly ideal. Aside from him, though,
your running backs aren't that bad.
It's really not bad. We kind of saw a little bit of a boost from Anungai last night. Just nothing came to like a reality. Trey Benson, when he gets back in theory, good. So you're just kind of running through some bad variants right now. Maybe try to see if you can package together like Bolden for a rookie upside swing with like shit. Who would be a good one?
I mean, would you drop Carter for someone with a higher ceiling, like a Downs or Kayshawn or
I'd just rather like
one of those guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just can't really see it with Michael Carter. As soon as they were like, "Oh, we're going to an ugly committee," I'm just like, "Do I really want the committee of that team? Probably not." Harvey and Henderson, I expect to both have better days ahead as well. So, in theory, like you're running back.
You just need one of those guys to break through, and then you have two, pretty reliable running backs, or Chase Brown to just figure it out.
This team's sick. I'm excited to see the future for it. What are y'all's thoughts on Darnell Mooney? When he does not play, you can lock in Drake London for 100 yards, pretty much guaranteed. That's the biggest correlation there. They take away from each other, as annoying as it is, but underrated talent, I guess, is the short story.
I like Darnell Mooney, though.
Yeah. All right. Uneasy. 14-man PPR tight end premium. Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Trey McBride, Nico Collins, Tyler Warren. Oof. Yeah, you have Trey McBride and Tyler Warren tight end premium. I think you are chilling. And then you have T-Mac on your bench along with Woody Mark. So two very solid upswings there. Tyjae Spears might be in line for some more work. So that's exciting. Yeah, Ted's like, I don't know. This team's sick, man.
Get Mike Evans out of there.
You don't need Mike Evans in there. You're likely going to have Taysom Hill as well.
I guess if Mike Evans plays this week and everybody else is out, like he'd probably start Ted. I mean, I guess Devontae is also in a pretty great spot as well. But
Adam should go nuclear in theory.
Yeah.
It's just that London game has now become very sketchy for fantasy purposes.
Yeah. Tight end premium is such a glitch, though, with your flexes. Like, there are like 15 tight ends that you can just throw into your flex and are pretty much guaranteed 10 points or more.
Yeah. I don't know. Your team's sick here, especially in a 14-man tight end premium. I'm honestly kind of surprised on how you acquired this because I'm trying to think of like how the board would have evolved. Like, yeah, this team's crazy. So best of luck, my friend. All right, on the next one. Baby Pluto. 12-team double flex, 7-5, league median. Annoying. Anyone worth adding off waivers also got offered Judkins and Tet for Jacobs. So I'm not opposed to that deal for what it's worth. Like, it's not a bad offer at all. I think it's more than fair. But that's more of a question of like, what do you need for your team in terms of standings type of deal? And based off of what you currently have, I'm not sure that you would say you do it. I would say I'm not entirely sure where I stand.
I don't think I would do it.
I mean, I guess Puka coming back, but like Rachaad White is realistically not a long-term flex option. Yep. Stephon Diggs is whatever. Like you're basically swapping Jacobs for Judkins in that top RB role, and then going forward, your flexes and receivers would be Ladd, Puka, McBride, Pearsall, and then Tet, which I feel a lot better about than like Rachaad White. I don't think Rachaad White has much value, obviously, once Bucky comes back, and your team is like fine enough now. I wouldn't like you can start Rachaad White for the next few weeks and feel totally fine about it, and now you'll just have Tet that you can start at flex while Puka's injured instead of having to deal with Ricky Pearsall's status every week, which doesn't seem to be improving all that much.
I will say, Hype Clips, you're kind of counter there. I actually like a lot more of Judkins, Tet, and Devontae Adams for Jacobs and Diggs. I think that's going to play out for you better over the long term and give you some near-term value as well for boosts. So, yeah, ultimately, I think I ended up siding with Grant on that deal as well. Like, I think he had the much better line of logic. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, final one for this one, and then Jackson will walk us through on how to get your team on this in case you missed out and want to join in next time. So we've got Matt0904 in an 8-man Superflex, hat PPR, and your team is a disaster, not competing this year, 1-5. So right now we're trying to avoid punishment or at least get back to middling value.
Is this Dynasty?
I don't.
Does that thing at the end say?
Yeah, it's Taxi Squad. It's got to be Dynasty.
Okay,
I mean, if it's Dynasty.
Yeah,
go ahead.
If it's Dynasty, I would be selling on some guys and kind of just consolidating your young assets. Like I would be keeping Brock, Tet, Cam, and then like I would probably trade off of Jalen Hurts to someone that's like in contention. Get your pick capital up. Trade Jalen Hurts for like I don't know, like a JJ McCarthy and 2 firsts or some kind of deal like that, where you can kind of just get going towards the future. Is that Sean Judkins?
Judkins is on Taxi Squad. My bet is he made.
So you're just taking
earlier, I guess. Yeah. Like I don't know, man. Like all you've set this team up to do is to fail, unfortunately, and that's not meant to be rude in any sense of the word. It's just kind of like you're in a very thin league as it is already, with like likely at least 1 super team, probably 2. So you're now in the situation where it's like you got to play the capital game. I'm not afraid to sell out of some like elite assets in order to like just take more swings in the next draft and try to just build it up.
Your best bet at competing is obviously going to be trading Hurts, maybe even Breece if he gets like traded somewhere fun. You can sell on the hype of that, and then just keeping your young guys and trying to like work towards the future. Because I think that like the core of Judkins, Cam, Tet, and Brock is there. You just need to like start thinking about the future, because like Wells said, I'm sure there are 4 teams in this league or 3 teams in this league that are all built up, ready to go, and they might just need a quarterback or something to really be in contention. So I think you make that move right now.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's just, I don't know, like I'm really not have a problem with this squad either as well. I'm just saying, like, if you are like annoyed or whatever, like that's one way to play it. Overall, you're just kind of in a rebuilding spot, and get to be excited for the next year's draft, and make debates between Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson and whoever else we're going to be discussing once it gets to that time. So with that said, appreciate you all. Hope you have a great time. But before we go, we're going to let Jackson cook and tell you how to get your team involved in case you weren't able to this time.
Yeah, if you want your team reviewed by some of the greatest minds in fantasy football, just join the Prediction Strike Army Discord. Send me a DM at Jamario Moon, like you see on the screen. If you just search Prediction Strike Army Discord into your Google browser, you should be able to find it. And then all we require is that you download the Prediction Strike app if you don't already have an account, and then we get your team on every Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. With that said, appreciate it all. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.